That's what it boils down to. You have people that have abandoned their homes, you heard it earlier here, over a mile away. And these turbines keep getting bigger and bigger. The bigger the turbine, the more problem. So, fast forwarding, 2017, spring of 2017, County Commission are having a hearing in Dual County. And it gets down to the point where I think it was Invenergy was arguing that 30 hours of flicker. It's so minimal. I don't know how anybody, participant or non-participant, could complain about a measly 30 hours of flicker a year. How could they? That's nothing in a whole year, 1.03785 or whatever it is. Nothing. And one of the commissioners, a lot quicker than I am, said, well, if it's so minuscule, why don't you just shut the turbine off for that period of time? I mean, everything stopped. The room was quiet for several seconds. And then we heard the wind developer say, well, that would affect profitability of the project. You get the feeling what you're dealing with here? It isn't money if you're living among the turbines, if you're a non-participant, but if you're a wind developer, or if you're getting paid by the wind developer, it's the money. It's health, safety, and welfare for the rest of us at a sacrifice. So that's where we're at. That's where we're living. That's where those people south of Toronto are living. September 2017, maybe you've heard of Brown County, Wisconsin. 2.5 mile circle around 8 wind turbines. Duke Energy owns them. It's a county outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And people had abandoned their homes out to 1.4 miles. And there was a big study done by 4 different acquisitions firms. Robert Rand, who I referred to earlier, Hessler and Associates, oh boy, Bruce Walker, and Paul Schubert, Dr. Paul Schubert. And they come out with a joint statement when it's all over with. And so it ended up being the health hazard was maintained, even though Duke Energy refused to shut any turbines down or anything else. And they had a panel discussion then later on in 2017, in September. And they had an MD from the wind developer, Duke Energy had an MD come in from Connecticut.
I'm sorry, sir, your time is up. Next name on the list is Ronald Kapp.
Ronald Kapp, CAPP, 843 6th Street Southwest, Pipestone, Minnesota. You might wonder why I'm here. I did the first 50 years of my life on the Mazeppa-Aurora Township border, right there where I-29 cut me in two. I live in Pipestone temporarily. I will be back to Summit. I support wind energy. About the flicker, is there a difference between a windmill and a tower that supports your handheld telephone? So does one red light bug you more than the other? Is one more of a risk than the other? Are you willing to give up your telephone? Thank you.
The next name on the list is Jolie Hicks.
My name is Jolie Hicks. I live at 46955 145th Street, Twin Brook, South Dakota. Unlike most of the people here, I have signed a contract. I have strong regrets about signing that contract. But it's a complicated situation. However, my husband and I, our biggest concern right now is the fact that looking at these ordinances that you're changing, your specifics aren't specific enough. If somebody's going to build a shed, somebody's going to build a barn or a house, boy, they have to have everything down. It's got to be black and white. Everything's got to be perfect. If there's anything that goes a little over a line, boy, they can come out and shut you down if they want to. This is so ambiguous. Could almost go anywhere on that quarter, and that is just, we feel that is wrong. That before anything gets accepted, it should be very, very specific. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. The next name on the list is Larry Hayworth.
Larry Hayworth, 907 Maple Street, Summit, South Dakota. I just would like to say that we're in support of the current setbacks, and we're just in support of the economic growth that it will help the area, help with the schools, and the kids are going to have a lot better. We were at a ball game the other day, and the girls got done playing ball. They were just little girls, and when they finished, they had to take their jerseys off and hand them to the boys that were playing next. And I thought, boy, I think there should be a little bit more money at the school, that could help with something like that. I know that's kind of piddly, but it's just something that you observe, and it just seems like it'd make a better life for the kids as they grow up here. Thank you.
Thank you. The next name on the list is Amy Tuttle.
Good evening. Amy Tuttle, 16175 Troy Avenue in Troy. I just have two things. One, regarding setbacks. The manufacturer puts out an instruction and safety guideline booklet, or PDF, much like you get with your microwave, that has a guideline regarding setbacks. Will you consider that? Second of all, as far as language, regarding specifically on your highlighted areas, the livestock, and protecting it in all throughout the project life. And then another concern of mine would be groundwater. Will you require any applicant to include a detailed mitigation clause on how they plan on doing that? So that when I, as a landowner, protect myself, like with comprehensive water testing before and throughout the project phase, if my groundwater becomes contaminated, will I clearly be able to see their efforts to prevent that so that I am protected? Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. The next name on the list, John Hensland.
Very good. Good German name. I feel sorry for those girls having, or those guys having to wear those sweaty jerseys. That's a shame. That's a good story.
Address, John.
My address is 1020 Lake Alice Drive, Clear Lake, South Dakota. I used to live in Millbank for a couple of years, and I enjoyed it, but I also have farmland in the county. Talk about a couple things. One, it's supposed to be regarding your provisions that you put together. If you look at section 1211, the general provisions, there's something that struck me when I was reading them, and you guys can just think about it. Site clearance. Permittee shall disturb or clear the site only to the extent necessary. This is a contract between the farmer and the wind developer. I don't think we want to have our zoning officer go out and check to see if what's been disturbed. That seems like that should be relegated to the property owner and the wind people. Same with the second one, topsoil. Whether they put the topsoil on the bottom or on the top, again, that's a responsibility of the farm owner and the wind developer. It's in the contracts. I've read the contracts. The ones I've read is covered there. But it seems funny that we'd be sending out somebody to check something like that over. Same with compaction. Same with livestock protection. And I think there's one below that, fences. Those are all items that are between the developer and the property owner. I don't think we need to get the public involved in those items. Roads, that is something we need to have involvement because they are public roads. Going on a little bit further, we've got dust control. If we're talking about roads, we still need that. The last one was soil erosion and sediment control. That would be still a good idea. We want to make sure we don't have contaminated water getting into our streams, our lakes, or our wetlands. But it seems like that would make this quite a bit simpler if we would cut some of this stuff out. Decommissioning, restoration, abandonment. I know that was brought up by the developer. The thing you got to watch out there is that there's different wordings between what the PUC has and what you have. You can take her advice as far as looking at what you have written right now and see, maybe talk with a couple of attorneys, make sure you have that correct. However, if you go with what the PUC has, they may or may not require that there is some financial incentives or requirements put upon the developer. And if they do require it, it may be a 30% or a 20%. If you want to really protect these farmers that have signed up, check with your attorney to make sure you got the right wording. The other thing you can look at is this. They signed the contract. It's covered in their contracts. Does the county want to be involved with that? Do you want to get your feet involved in there, or do you want to just say that is, again, between the farmer and the wind developer? Something to think about. Two concerns I had when we worked in Dual County, because we had this, also had this in Dual County. One was the aircraft detention lighting system, and I applaud you guys for putting it in. Dual didn't do it on the two of the larger projects. They kind of quasi got it in on the last one. One of the things that we ran into there was we did have some developers coming in and said it wasn't approved. Basically, they gave false information. That is approved. You shouldn't have any problems getting that. I've also talked with the FAA gentleman that does the inspections on those, and he says the Coteau areas and the areas that we're looking at putting this in are a good place to use that type of system. So I applaud you for that. I also applaud you for giving us more than 3 minutes. We had 3 minutes in our district and our county, excuse me, and it's hard to get a message across in just 3 minutes. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is property value impacts. I do live in the rural area. I live along the Lake Alice. When this came up, there was a lot of discussion on setbacks. We were given 2 miles, and I was happy to get 2 miles. I'd like to get more, but I was happy to get 2 miles. But there was a push to get it back to 1. I talked with having to be in Energy, and I said, I'm hearing rumors you guys want to go with 1 mile instead of 2. And they said, yeah, we can get 15 more turbines in. So at our public hearing, I said, I'll tell you what, folks. If you want that setback, buy us out. You know, gonna buy my house, I'm gonna go someplace else, I don't wanna be that close to a turbine. They said, there's no impact to property values. Maybe you've heard that, no impact to property values. I don't know about you, would you go buy a house next to a turbine? I know I wouldn't, I haven't found anybody that would. Most of them don't live by them. I'm talking about the developers. Okay, they will generally give you this study they have, 50,000 homes. I think it's 27, what is it, counties? I might say that wrong. States, I think it is, in so many counties, that they've done this huge study. And basically they say there was no impact to property values. The gentleman that put that study together, the main author of that, the study came out of Lawrence Berkeley's National Laboratory. The main author to that is Ben Hone. He was the primary author. This is what he has to say about this. I think one of the things that often happens is that the wind developer puts our report forward and says, look, property values are not affected. And that's not what we would say specifically. On the other hand, they have little ground to stand on if they say they won't guarantee it. Okay, that's one of the things that our board of commissioners moved for. They said, okay, if you're saying that that there is no impact, they said, guarantee it. Not one of them were willing to guarantee property values. Not one of them. Reason why? Because they know it's going to cost them some money. They know they're going to impact these houses and these properties. The other thing, they plan to sell this. Most of them will sell it. Most of them will sell it to Excel, different buyers, Google, you name it. Well, if they have to sell it and they have property values in there, it makes it a lot harder to sell. So it's all economics. Okay? On this same study, that they say there is no impact. I was going to read a couple of other things along that line. Some evaluation from some peer reviews. Albert Wilson states, the report should not be given serious consideration for any policy purposes. The underlying analytical methods cannot be shown to be reliable or accurate. Michael McCain says, regarding the terminology or focus, irregardless of the terminology and focus, the fact is that the raw data shows a post-construction negative impact of 28% for homes less than 1 mile from turbines or homes versus homes within the 3 to 10 miles. 28%. But by the time they got done putting it into an equation, a spatial herdomic, if I said it right, hedonic equation, I think I said it right the second time, they ended up saying basically at a 90% that it was within the 3% one way or another. Well, if you look at the way the values go, the closer you get, the more impact there is. There's no doubt. The closer you get to that turbine, the more impact you have on your property value. Okay? There was a research done in Germany just on viewing turbines. 1 minute left. Okay, and what they found there is if you can see 8 or more turbines, 10% evaluation on your property. 8 or 10 turbines. And you start looking at it down in Toronto area. I'm sure you can go 4 or 5 miles from those turbines and you're still going to be seeing 8 turbines. There is a tremendous impact on property value. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen Casperson.
Good evening. I'm Karen Casperson, speaking also for my husband Alan Casperson, 17257 460 Avenue, Watertown, South Dakota. We are landowners here in Grant County, in Mazeppa Township, 3 miles south of Blue Cloud Abbey. You did receive a letter. I am in support of development of wind turbines. Our particular land is suitable for grazing, but not suitable for very much of a tillable crop. From my letter that you received on October 23rd, I listed 5 components of why we are in favor of the wind turbines. They provide affordable electrical power. It was really nice, and this has nothing to do with probably Grant County. We are Northwestern Public Service customers in Watertown, and this last monthly bill, I thought, $47 credit, did I write the check out wrong? No, and then there was a clause in there, and this was also on the KELOLAND News, that Xcel Energy, along with Northwestern, along with others, that we would be seeing a credit, and it had to deal with some federal act. But the only reason I'm bringing that up is because it's nice. We have affordable electrical power. We're very fortunate. In Watertown area, they get a lot of it from Hawaii, which is the pier and the water. But it's nice to have affordable electrical power, and wind turbines provide that. You know what happens in Grant County. You have been through the hardships. You remember Christmas 2017. You guys lived through 8 to 10 days, maybe longer, without the convenience of electric power due to that ice storm. Alan's father grew up, and he saw this as a young boy in the 1940s in Clark County. And he had his own windmill generator that he used for electricity. And so that left an impact on Alan. And so we are in favor of the development, and we are in favor of the possibility. I say possibility because you hold it in your hands as commissioners, and it's not an easy decision to make. I'm going to piggyback on one of the last persons that spoke, and it's kind of a piggyback of life. Yes, life does revolve, though, around economics. As commissioners, you spend, and if you have any club or organization, your organization revolves, how much of your meeting revolves around dollars and finances and treasurer's report. There are part of just about every organization. And so you as commissioners have a very difficult job here. Wind energy could open up an avenue of additional dollars for you and for the townships. And so thank you for all of your time, your study, and good luck with your decisions. But thank you for listening.
Thank you, Karen. Vote. Rose,
Oh, there it is. Those were the individuals that had signed up on the attendance sheet. We have gone about 2 hours into the forum. If you did not sign up and have not spoken, is there anybody in the audience that would still like to address the commission if you have not spoken, or you forgot to sign the list saying that you wanted to speak? Is there anybody in the audience? Okay. So,
I've been watching. Did anybody else come in and sign up?
did anybody else come in and sign up? That any sheets back there? Chris, to take a quick look. Okay. So,